Hello folks, well today we are on, it's Mr. Trucking and Farming Skiptech in a box. It says it's got a funny display fault. We have no service information, so whether or not that can be fixed is, well, possibly unlikely. If I remember correctly, the phase lock loop chip is the one that boots up on channel 9, because this is just an up-down. It presents as a rotary control, but it's not really. It's a rotary shaft encoder, so it's really up-down. They boot up on channel 9, and the display is a multiplex feature that comes out of the chip. So if it's dodgy on one digit, if the power supply is right, it's a dodgy chip, to my mind. Right, I've got one of these in a box as well. Well, I've got a box. I don't know whether there's anything in it. So, like a lot of his sets, it's immaculate. It does come with instructions, which inconveniently does not have a square kit diagram. So there we go. Kerno Trading, Minor Road, Bristol. So they were the distributors for that. Of course, those Kerno B1100s were very nice, and although very similar circuits and clean out of the same factory as the Midland 77095, or it was the 099. The squelch actually works on the Kerno version, whereas it's not very good at all, shall we say, to put mildly, on the Midland version. We'll take this out of his box, and while we're talking about Kerno, I mean, they ceased trading, must be 20 years ago, and I did a little search on Google for the address, and it's been a very derelict building for a long time, and I think this year part of the roof collapsed, and it's one of these dodgy landlords, it turns out, who never does anything. So the current state of the Kerno building is that, and of course it's all got the roof caved in and scaffold to hold it up, and so on. I wonder if there were any scrap chassis in there we could have had parts of. Right, so I mean, it looks a smart set with smart sides and that. And it's going to be, are we going to use it on the mic, or is it, I don't know what mic is this. I mean, it's a few days ago, isn't it, since I last did one. I'm looking for the, I'll tell you what, we'll try it with a Cybernet wired mic. I don't expect it's in the instruction book, even that detail. Right, we'll try it with a Cybernet mic. And what connector does it use? Oh, that's some point, isn't it? It's a T1100, the opposite way on. I think it is. We're going to have to open this up, set up first to verify. I think this customer's bought a lead from me, and we've modified another lead. I didn't really take the right guide rail off there, did I? Because obviously it's the bottom that's going to come off. But I'm not going to put the other back in case we've got to start doing things underneath. So at least these aren't self-tappers, and they're M3 machine screws. Used a duster for this job. I've not seen an immaculate one of these before. What on earth's that? Well, not much left of that label, is there? So So what we're going to do, I'll put his pack of things back, and I'll go and get one of these power leads, and I'll doctor it to put the polarity the other way around. Right, I've done that. We've got a Molex tool that fits these. They're not Molex connectors, but the Molex tool fits. So it's TTI TCB1100, but reverse polarity. So I've just done that and quickly labelled it TI4000, so we don't inadvertently sell it to somebody for their TCB1100. Now we've got about 7 of these in stock, and that's it. So got them on our eBay stuff. They're a bought-in lead, they're not one we make, but I bought all the ones the wholesaler had. When they had about 18, that is. Right, it's a nice thick lead. Just clunk the microphones. Get that connected to our crocodile clip. And plug it into the radio, but not switch on till I've checked the polarity myself. I'm not disbelieving Mr. Trucking. Look at that, it fits just like he says it does. I wouldn't have known that. I'm just going to check the polarity. Oh, it's not very obvious what the polarity is. This set's had a blown up capacitor in it because it's full of fur. So what capacitor has blown up? I'm going to zoom in for those of you not familiar with what happens. I want you to look there. There's fur. There's a piece of fur which has come out of a capacitor, and I think it's actually that one, and I think it's still not been replaced. So this can be the result of being overvolted, like the 24 volt expert. It just, that doesn't feel right. You know, as I twang them, it's just not right. So that could be why it's got a poorly display. And normally you'd take out the audio chip and la-di-da-di-da. So, is this another of those returns, but somebody blew it up and returned it because they were cheeky? Lucky I don't work in a shop, isn't it? Because every return would be absolutely checked. Because I know how daft some customers are. They think they can blow up people's stuff with no consequences. I told you the other day, Mr. Trucking and Farming, his business, they were fitting Thunderpole T800 in a tractor and got through 3 sets before realising they'd got the wiring wrong. Because they can't be returned, so we've got one of those to see whether we can fix it. You see, there's no, I can't see any soldering here. Let's put the camera back to normal. I can't see any soldering around here, so I think this has just been neatly put back in the box. So we'll change this. This is why I observe before switching these things on. It's one of those, is it, that doesn't want to come out. That side it is. So we've got I still can't tell whether it's that one which has done it. I've not got an ESR meter on here, we've got a capacitance meter. Well, I mean, that says it's all right as far as I say. I haven't got an ESR meter, which would be better. We're going to swap it anyway. I'm not putting it back in. It just feels too light. Definitely something blown up. The explosion is this area. Oh, it's there. There it is. It's totally missing. Let's go back into Zoom. I bet you were shouting at your monitor screens. It's behind you. So next to that choke, there's the two electrodes of a missing capacitor. But of course, with no service manual, we've got no idea what it once was. So that's something we are going to have to find out by taking one of my sets apart. And that's why this business model has one of each set. So I have to keep. I've sold our Rotel 240 demonstrator now. Somebody says, "Have you got a Rotel 240?" You know, so well, I suppose so. I keep thinking I'm not going to get another one in, so I'll sell the demonstrator. Right. So I'm going to change that 1000. I've taken it out. I'm not putting it back in, and we've got to find out what capacitor 127 once was. Wouldn't it be nice? You know, somebody's taken that out because the set would rattle otherwise. Here's a nice new set, Mr. Trucking and Farming. Never been touched. Okay, so ours turns out to be an empty box. So I brought the kitchen scale here. I'm going to have a bit of fun. So there's our 1000 microfarad capacitor at 25 volt rating, and there's their 1000 microfarad capacitor at 16 volt rating of the brand Orient. Ours is Nikon. I'm going to cut the leads so that you can't say to me, well, the leads are longer. Right. Doesn't even. I'll tell you what, it might not help being on a soft surface. I can't even measure it, can I? An hour's. Can't measure that either. Well, that didn't work. Never mind. I'll be able to weigh my dinner out later. So I'll put this better quality capacitor in, and then we're going to struggle to work out what we need to do unless I can find another set. Now, we may have. They were also the... Oh, there was something else, weren't they? Right, it's taken an hour and 9 minutes to research that. Had to eventually find a set with the same chassis, which was the Delta 4000 version, and it's it had been replaced in the other set, and in that other set it was 100 microfarads. So we'll put 100 microfarads in this one. Now, if I'd have been doing a rough guess, I'd have put 470 microfarads in it, but you just don't know where it is in the circuit. Okay, so we're not going to plug the test gear into the extension speaker socket. We're going to plug... I'll tell you what, we'll start with public address. That seems safer. Right, we'll switch on. I've got no mic connected. It comes on channel 9 as we'd expect. And it is dimmer as he says it is. I'm not sure there's going to be a fix for that. Right, switch to PA, and we'll get out the standard Cybernet microphone in the hope that it's standard Cybernet wiring. It is.
Testing 1 2 1 2, testing 1 2.
So that's fair enough. That works on the mic gain, which is what you'd expect. Is there a serial number on this? Or it's worn off, hasn't it? Oh, there we are. That's 2 things ticked off. Right, let's put picture in picture on, and go to the main meter on the test set. Switch back to CB, channel 20, and it's doing 3.8 watts. Channel 40 is doing 3.8 watts. Channel 1 is doing 3.95 watts. Back to channel 20, and we're at 1.347 amps. And low power, let's take the test set to low power and the radio to low power. It's 400 milliwatts on the dot. So frequency, the test gear's been on sufficient length of time. 27,79103, 27,79103, it should be 27,79125. It's neither here nor there, but I'll tell you what, we'll pull that up right now. Not with that tool, we won't. Oh, spot on. Oh, deviation on this test set. Wow. I've got mic gain back up. No, we haven't. Wow. It says 1.8 on here. When I key up, what does the meter read? It's supposed to be centered in the red zone. Put low. Right, let's have a look at the receiver. So we'll plug the test set in to the extension speaker socket. Squelch down, doesn't need an earth. RF gain check to full. Set the signal generator for the correct frequency, 27,79125. I can hear it coming through at 0.3. Right, let's get some readings. Naught 0.85. Probably about where it should be, to be honest. I've just that's that. There we go. 10. Let's move that wire. I can't see it myself. 0.76. Just we're going to reset the signal generator. 20 dB. It's 1.65. Squelch to full. 1030 100 on the attenuator. I'll show you that. So I want it to be 100 when it opens, but it doesn't. But it does at 300. So that's fair enough. But we'll adjust it finer if we can. Do the opposite, signal generator to standby, squelch down on the radio. Parked at 0.3 of a microvolt, switch the signal generator on. Def squelch. 5.6 microvolts. Not good. What switches otherwise have we got? We've got dimmer. I mean, what can you do with that display? Because we don't have a circuit. I'll look at another. I'll probably change those to electrolytics as a precautionary thing, but I don't think. Oh, I don't know. They're near that resistor, and it's going to heat them up over the years. That other than that, kind of supply to the phase lock loop, there's not really a lot I can do without a circuit. And I can't remember whether it's even on the one I've seen before, which was only 10 days ago, wasn't it? So I've totally forgotten what we did to that. I don't think it's going to be on the clipboard anymore. Yeah, running while is on this clipboard. Right, TX power. I need to put that to full as a temporary measure, just to centralise the transmitter. See if we can just go down this far. I don't think I need to do the early stages. I don't really want to focus. I wish people didn't wax these in when they weren't originally. Is that hex? No. Well, that looks pretty central. That coil looks like Mr. Stretcher's been in it. Right, so spot on the 4 watts there. So let's see what we're doing on the other channels. Channel 40 is spot on 4 watts. Channel 1 is spot on 4 watts. So the imbalance was the coils being stretched. So its internal SWR should be better, so hopefully it's going to draw less current. It does. 1.161. So look at that. Gone down 100 and something milliamps because the internal SWR is better. So the meter is the preset next to it. Let's go to channel 20. And that's in the centre of the red zone. You got me right in the centre of the strawberry patch, good buddy. Low power. Is it adjustable on these? Have a look at my crib sheet. Doesn't look to be. So let's see what it is now. It was pretty spot on, wasn't it, before? It's 430 milliwatts. Because the power's gone up, that's gone up in sympathy. So we'll do deviation on the test set behind me. Wow, it's 2.1, so it doesn't need to come up very far at all. So deviation is there. Wallow, wallow. That's it. Peak of 2.5. I mean, I can feel heat on both those electrolyzers. It shouldn't be getting warm, but I say that, and they're just close to things that get warm. So the receiver is very good. We could look at the instructions, couldn't we, to see how good it's supposed to be. See what the manufacturer says. .5 for 20 decibels. That sounds a bit fanciful. Oh, I don't think so. Mind you, I've said before, there's 2 scales, aren't there? There's EMF and there's PD. It doesn't tell you which mode they're testing in. Right, let's check this the signal joint is still on frequency. Just trim that because it isn't. Check the radio still on frequency. It is. We'll go to the oscilloscope. Enough volume for a sensible trace. Oh, I can hear digital artifacts. So we're into the cheap sets in this era. And by cheap, not just financially cheap. Detector. was about spot on. Just check where I am with that. Right, I'll go to the SINAD meter. Wow! How far out was that? And that. That was spot on. I'll just check those, looking at the signal meter as well. Yeah, that was spot on. They're all spot on with both methods, so I think we're going to get a new reading now. .28. .22. On 20 dB, 0.59. Remember they said it was 0.5, but if we go into PD mode instead of EMF, we get 0.25, you see, so there we are. You just don't know how they're expressing it. Right, let's put S9 on the signal generator and see what the meter says. It now says more than S9, so we need to adjust that. There it is, S meter. This preset's a bit coarse. But there we are, we've got there. Yep. different. It was right before, it's right now, but because it's been retuned, it needed readjusting. They're alright, they're alright, they're alright. That was 2.0, it's now 2.2 to 2.5. We won't be doing the VCO with no method. And then we need to do the squelch. So I'm going to put squelch to full, and let's go to the attenuator. You might just be able to see it between the wires and the papers. I want it to open at 100 microvolts. 1, 3, 10, 30, 100. It doesn't open. So which is our preset for that? I'll leave that on so people can see where we're doing. Transmit line, receive. Right. Squelch. There we go. That now opens as 100. Now, does it work properly at the other end? Because it wasn't doing, was it? It's atrocious squelch. We've got 0.5. We've got 5.6 microvolts to beat. I mean, I really want them under 1.5. Let's turn that to standby. Put the squelch on the radio to threshold. Making sure I'm very carefully there. Signal change the back on, parked at 0.3. Nearly came in, didn't it? That's perfect. 0.85 microvolts. So it was screwed up IF. Nobody's ever been in here, Squire. So the only thing left to do, I will change those two capacitors. I'll put higher rated in the temperature in there. There's nothing more I can do. If that fixes the display, it fixes the display. It's not going to get worse, it's just different brightness, isn't it? But unless somebody's going to come up with a circuit diagram, we're not going to be able to get far. And I've seen quite a few Skiptech sets with knackered displays, so at least it does work. And it's a cheap set. It's very important to say that. It's not a cybernet, is it? Okay, so I've changed the two capacitors. It's 100 microfarads and 10 microfarads. And you see I've inserted them in such a way that they're not against the hot component there. So here's the moment of truth. It just draws too much current, doesn't it, on the units. There's one thing finally I can do, and we'll look at the circuit diagram for another set that uses this chip, probably one of the Midlands, and just see how it's done. I'll go and do a bit of research. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the set, it's just this display, and of course I didn't see it before I intervened with the capacitors there. So there we go, I will go and do that. Right, I've done the research. So the chip it uses is the C5121-01. There we go, C512101. So I had a little bit of a troll through some of the Midland models, and this 1165, 771165, I can't remember who makes it. It's like Do Wong or somebody. It's not Maxon. It's anyway. It uses the C512101, so it gives us a circuit diagram of what we're going to expect. Now it doesn't mean we can fix this. So we can see that it's up down, which it does with this rotary switch. So that we know that happens. Then as far as the actual display goes, the tens and units are multiplexed, and the outputs are here. Now that's clearly absolutely fine. But what isn't fine is we've got the units are driven by transistor 9 in this case, and the tens are driven by transistor 8 in this case. And then the whole caboodle has this 5-volt Zener used as a regulator, and this capacitor 220 microfarads at 10 volts. So can we find any circuitry like this in this set? And we're not going to take the front panel off, I can promise you that. Just in case it was on the front panel. You see, we've got three. Oops, what's not happening? Those. So what we're, I mean, is that resistor the one for the Zener? I don't know. Can we see a Zener? I mean, just because one, oh, there is a capacitor under there hiding. See, I hadn't spotted that before. So all you can do is see if you can spot something. Yeah, we've got a diode there. So chances are that's a Zener. So I'm on channel 20, and we've of course got the units brighter than the tens, which is what we're. I think this is a negative chassis. We'll just prove that by going on the power. Yeah. So positive end 6.2. Let's see whether this varies with channel. Let's go to channel 1, which is going to use less current because it only lights 2 segments, and then we'll go to channel 40, still 6.3. So it's absolutely constant. Let's go across the diode. Yeah, so it's nothing to do with the Zener, and I've done I've kind of inadvertently done that part of the circuit. So the only capacitor which could be in this vicinity is that one there. So all we can do is change that, and it either is a bit better or it isn't. I mean, it's not anything that's going to get worse, I'm convinced. And you can see that, you know, you've got to try and think of what set uses a similar arrangement. Right, I'll switch that off. We'll whip that capacitor out. It's not going to do any harm, is it? You know, it could just be loading down. I've seen so many of these with totally knackered displays, and you can't get the digits and all that. Well, we did have a kind viewer sent me a display once for one I was doing. So it should be negative to the front of the set. And it is. It's 10 microfarads, 16 volts. So we'll go and get one of those. be honest, this is more likely to be in the vicinity of the channel selector switch. Looking at where it is on the circuit, but you know, who knows. And of course, no, there's very few circuits lying around these days, are there? At least there were more than there are now. But I think that a lot of this is secret squirrel. Or they only want it to last guarantee period, and then you buy another set, don't you? I had this with Motorola. They brought the GP300 hand portable out when I was service manager at Nottingham Radio, and the rep came, and where's the solder gone? He said the good thing about these sets is they're not repairable. So he says all we do, we've got spare knobs, spare batteries obviously, spare aerials, spare belt clips, that's it. So it goes wrong, you throw it away. So I say, so let me get this right, it's been on a duff aerial, it's blown the output stage simply because it's been on a bad aerial, and the customer has to buy a new set because it's non-repairable. Yes, that's right. So well, won't be buying any of those then. So it's not, has it struck you that yes, they'll buy another set if it's non-repairable, but it won't be a Motorola, it'll be another make. And we did get some with blown output stages, and I think it was Mark who found a way to kind of get into them and do it, and that's G7 and DJ Mark. As you draw more current, the units it goes down in brightness, but it's see, once you start taking more current than the two digits, the two segments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there you've got more current being drawn. 1, 2, 4 segments there, 2 segments there, 5 segments, 2, 3, 5 segments, 4, and it's a little bit brighter, you see. So it's drawing, something's restricting the amount of voltage getting to the display, but I'm not going to take it further than that because the set's now working beautifully, and I don't think it's faulty. It's just the way it is. And I've not seen this on other ones, but I've genuinely only seen 2 of these with displays that work, and this is the 3rd. Seems to be a pile of sets in bins all over the country with displays that don't work. Right, we're done. We'll put that back together. But what a surprise to open that up and find there's been a little explosion inside, but nothing rattling around because somebody has intervened and removed the evidence. I've never seen one in this state. That's a great thing to have in your collection. So, I know that this gentleman has 2 more immaculate sets in his box. I think there's actually 3 in total, but the 2 which I'm thinking about, he's got Amstrad 900, and they're always the genuine article from Japan. And he's got a Binatone 5-star, pristine in its box. So we'll be doing one of those tomorrow. Said that before on doing these sets, and we've not managed to find one. And I don't think that if I write to Kerno, I don't think they're going to respond. I did that Beta 1100 and they're absolutely fabulous. But is it the 5100, which is quite swishing with slidey rails, a bit like this in that respect, and they're not that good. There's a really swish looking one. With really modern front, loads of little lit up push buttons on it. Is it 4004 or 4007 or something like that? And that's not a good set either. It's a really old fashioned set with a really swish front on it. I've never seen these rails before. Tell you what, these screws aren't all the same. That one's totally different. Right, we'll put it on the aerial instead of the test gear. Switch the test gear off, plug the aerial in. You can plug an external S meter into these, as with a little 2.5mm jack. I know Knights used to sell them. Oh, aye. What's that about? That's Skip, isn't it? Well, Nana, Roger. Right, well there we are. It was on dim. The Kerno's Skiptech TI4000 from about 1988, 1990, somewhere around that region, and there we are, doing on the air test later on. Thanks for watching.